Hello everyone, it's Angie here at Beads and Plenty More. Today I thought we'd get you in the Christmas spirit by doing up a Christmas ball. So I've got this spiraled Christmas ball where the spirals go both ways, and I'll show you how to do it. So this is just an ornament cover that goes on top of a glass ball. So you can take it off, store them flat when you're don't have them on your tree, and then put them out when you do want to show them off. So I've threaded the first row up already, and what I've got is my two seed beads. I'm using the pearl one as the color B, and the red one is the color A. So I've got 4 color B and 1 red color A, and I've done this 10 times on my thread here. There is a materials list that's going to follow with the instructions here. So I've written everything into the materials list there. So what I'm doing is I'm just pulling these down, and I'm going to tie them into a circle. So if you have trouble tying this, another way you can do it is you can just loop through your beads a second time so that they don't muck around when you're trying to tie your circle here. Just get a good nice knot. I have left the tail in long enough that I can thread a needle on it and thread it into my work later. And then I'm just going to run through a few beads until I'm coming out one of my red beads. So I've stitched through the red bead and I'm coming out the other side of it. Okay. So now we're ready to add. And what we're going to add is we're going to add 6 of the red ones, so 6 of color A, and 5 of color B. Before you move on though, sometimes it's a good plan to double check to make sure that goes over the top of your ornament, because you don't want to get the entire ornament stitched and then discover that it won't go over the top. And some glass balls have different tops on them, so you can always add an extra seed bead at the top if you need to make that work. So I've threaded the 6 and the 5, and then I stitched through the next of the red beads, next one along there. And I'm going to do that all the way along. So when you finish this row, you should have 10 points sticking out, and it should look a little bit like a starburst or a sun. So I picked the red and the white here today because I thought this might look a little more like a candy cane in the true Christmas spirit if I went with Christmas colors like that. So that was my inspiration today. So we'll just keep working along here. One thing we've done at our store every year is we've stitched up a pretty Christmas ball, and it's usually a different design every year. So people that have done it year to year have followed along, and they've got a whole collection of them now. This was one of the original patterns that we did. It's a basic netting, and it's a great way to learn how to do some stitched work and netting in particular, because it's a basic pattern. So I'm getting around here. I'm not going to make you watch me do the entire ornament here, but I do need to get around one round so that I can show you how to step up to the next row. That's important. Oops. You may notice I'm working on one of these bead mats, and they're wonderful to work on because the beads often do land whole side up, so you can just stab your way through them. I'm not sure if the microphone picked that up, but that's my Cocker Spaniel barking at all the kids outside. Okay, so we're back to the beginning one now. This is my working thread, and then I've got the other thread tucked in behind here so that it's out of the way. I'm going to stitch back into that beginning one, so I'm still in the original circle stitching. So it's going to come through that one, which creates the full starburst here, or the sunburst. And then I'm going to come down the 6 beads that follow here. So I'm going to come down my red color A beads to the point. So this is what we call a step up in netting, and that's moving on to the next row. Now the next row consists of 6 again of the red ones. And 5 of the pearl ones. And then you're just going to come over to the next point here. So there's the beginning of your little net. So and there's our 5. And when I come to the next one, I'm stitching through the last of the color A's each time. So I'm going to continue all the way around to the next point here. And then when I get to this point here, I'm going to step up again. So I'm going to come through these beads to step up. So I will meet you on the other side, and I have 4 sheets of instructions that will follow here, and that you want to make sure you capture all 4 if you're screenshotting them. I've got numbers at the top to help you out, and then I'll come back and show you how to do the fringe at the other end. All right. So here I am coming up to the end of my last row before the fringe, and I've run out of threading cord here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join, and what I've done is I've cut another piece of the fire line, and I'm going to just tie the one to the next. So I've taken the needle off already, and I'm just going to go right over left and around. So then left over right. This time I'm going to go twice. So one time, second time around, pull everything good and tight. You don't want that knot to slip at all. So I'm pulling on all 4 ends. Then I'm going to tie just one more little knot on top. Give it a good tug, make sure it's good and tight. Now these 2 tail ends, I'm not going to bother to cut them off because they're just going to weave into my work as I work. So we'll just thread the needle up here. I'm just going to finish off. Now at this point it's starting to pull in just a little bit, so it's not quite as flat doily like. It's starting to sit more like it should as a ball. So 11 on this one, 10 on the other one. And we'll just pull that over all the thread there. And basically this is a quick way to hide your knot, because you don't have to worry about going back and threading a needle and threading your tail ends in, because they're already hidden. So we'll just pull that down. Now this is my beginning one here, so I'm going to do the step up. So I'm stitching through this one, which is from the previous row. And then I'm going to follow through and step up to the next row. So through the next 11 beads that are there. All right, so to finish off, we're going to start onto the fringe here. So I'm going to thread 10 of my color A beads on. And this is where the bugles start to come in, because I'm going to thread a bugle, and then I'm going to start threading some of my bigger ones. Now I picked some heavy ones here, and the reason that I picked heavy ones is I want the fringe to hold the weave down so that it's not all crumpled up and tight to my work. So anything that you pick for your fringe, you want a unit of 10, because there's 10 drops down. So I'm using the white one twice, so I picked 20 of it up, but the rest of them, there's just 10 beads here. So I'm going to add 3 seed beads on the bottom so that we make a little picot. And then I'm going to come back up through all my beads here. So I'm skipping the 3 that are on the bottom. And I'm just coming back through all these other ones until I get through the bugle. And then I'm going to pick up 10 of my color B ones. And stitch through my next point here. So I'm going to finish around the entire row, and you can see that it's not sitting flat anymore. It's going to start to pull in, and that's what you want to have happen, because you want it to go around the ball. And then I'll show you a picture when it's done. Now, as far as ending your thread off at the end, all you want to do is weave it back into your work and just tie a few slip knots in there. Have a good day.